Hey everybody, I'm here in the storage closet at Severance and I'm getting a little practice time in on the organ. It's the first day of the Rogue Festival. Earlier today here at Severance, the performers who arrived late last night and early this morning were doing their tech rehearsal. So I'm taking advantage of a little short break we've got here to just get a little bit of last minute practice on my two big pieces for my show. My first performance is tomorrow, and then I have a second performance after that on Sunday. So I'm going to be taking you around the festival here on this first day, and we're going to have a good time. So here we are, it's the first day of the Rogue Festival, and we're looking at the Rogue swag store. We've got t-shirts, you can pick up programs here and all that good stuff. Looks like some of my dear friends are manning the booth, as it were. And here's one of the Rogue venues, the back room of the Review coffee shop. Get great coffee here, and then they have a wonderful little theater space in the back. So this is Olive Avenue in Fresno, California. It's along this street that most of the Rogue takes place, in galleries and cafe spaces. You can see the Tower Theater down there. Little neon lights starting to shine through. This is absolutely my favorite neighborhood in my hometown of Fresno, California. This is where the fun stuff happens. This is where we still have mom and pop businesses. And it's just a really nice place. And it's just perfect for our festival. I just love it here. One of the great pleasures of the Rogue Festival is that each morning we come over here to Marcel Nunes's house. Marcel is the founder of the Rogue Festival. And I'll freely admit that yesterday I recorded this same scene and didn't have a memory card in my silly little camera. Hey, Marcel.
Hey, how's it going, Tony?
It's going really good.
Here today, tomorrow, yesterday.
Yeah, and every day therein, yeah. So yes, we have a good time each morning and talk about ideas and things that we've done and get fresh ideas for the next show, because all of us are working on our next show already.
And drink heavily, yeah.
And drink heavily.
Sometimes it's coffee.
Sometimes it's coffee.
Green juice. Yeah.
What is it? Dorian, what is that you're drinking?
Blended frog. It's
Blended
high in
frog?
protein. It's high in protein.
Okay.
I'm drinking an actual frog.
Yeah, and then Kurt famously has his frog mug.
Yep.
Oh my god.
That's when you know Rogue has begun, when he starts pounding the frog.
This is the performance space. Normally this is a big dance studio, and during the festival they set it up especially for the Rogue Festival. And those of us who have really big equipment needs perform in this venue. Most of the other venues are cafes and office spaces, and they're really for shows that can just be, you'll walk on stage, do your thing, and get on out. I have, of course, the big organ for my show, Confessions of a Church Organist. And then Benjamin Boone, who's a jazz saxophonist, has a band, and they do their shows on this special stage setup that's been done. You can see the Marley mats out on the floor, because dance classes do continue during the Rogue Festival. And the organ just rolls out on the rolling platform, sets up in front of the audience there. And the people here at Severance are really nice to accommodate me. The organ gets stowed in this large closet space, and then I can come in during the week and get some practice time. So here we are, it's opening night, and it's we're going to be setting up here. As you see, we've got the organ out. It just rolls on wheels. It's really cool. And we're setting up recording gear so I can share some of the show with you later on. And you'll get to see some good times here.
You're sure you have the card in the camera?
Yes.
Okay.
It did not give me a warning saying that you don't have a card in here, dummy.
You can check though to make sure that the card is in there, right?
It won't actually record. It's just outside in the sun. I couldn't see the screen clearly enough to tell that it was giving me a warning.
Okay.
So we're trying to get things settled here before we let the audience up, and we had a fire downstairs, and all the smoke wafted up here, and we thought something up here was on fire. I, of course, tried to pass it off as me, but, you know, it didn't work.
The keys were just smoking.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the road.
Thank you.
We apologize for the little pyrotechnical delay.
I know.
Oh, that was fun. Okay, without further ado, Tony Imperatrice.
That's a fun damn piece, right? Yeah. Who the hell says Bach is boring? Yeah. All right. We're going to have some fun tonight, because back in the 1970s, I was raised in the most rigid, overbearing, guilt-riddled religion that was ever devised by the human race. I was raised evangelical atheist. Whoa. Now, most mornings, my brother and I woke up to my parents arguing in the bathroom. Damn it, Patty! It's impossible to shave in here with all this steam you're making.
Well, you don't expect me to go to work without a shower.
Oh, come on. Why don't you take your shower at night like a normal person?
Well, why don't you go out and get a better job so I can have my own bathroom?
So it was the fall of 1979. I got my driver's license, and I got my first real paying job. I was hired by the Fresno Falcons hockey team. And as a member of an elite semi-professional minor league sports organization, I had an important and indispensable job. I was the team organist. Let me hear you put your hands together. So there was another really big wedding I played over at a neighboring church, and at that particular church, you could not see down the aisle from where the organ console was placed. So I asked the young lady that was singing to spot for me, and it came time to march the bride in. So I'm playing, and I'm playing for, gosh, what seems like a long time, and I looked over at my spotter, and she gives me, keep playing, keep playing. So I keep playing, and I keep playing for what seems like a long time, and I look over at my spotter and she says, keep playing, and I keep playing, and I'm running out of stuff to keep playing. And finally I get a cut off and I'm like, what's going on? And she waves me out into the stairwell and describes the scene to me. Oh my God, the father of the bride is proudly marching his daughter down the aisle. They get about halfway when the mother of the bride jumps from her seat, runs down the aisle, gets in a fist fight with the dad, shoves him in the nearest pew, and marches her daughter the rest of the way. Back in the 70s, organists were well-paid, well-respected music professionals. There were lots of opportunities for organists because the organ was still a vital part of our culture. But in the 80s, things began to change. You know, it's funny, when I was 13 years old, I had my whole life figured out.
I was going to play at Pizza and Pipes, work in an organ store, and maybe play at a church on Sunday. What I didn't count on, of course, was that the world would change. You know, the more obscure and specialized your vocation happens to be, the more difficult it is to find a path to success. On the other hand, the more stupid, idiotic, asinine bullshit you get into when you're young, the more interesting you get to be when you're older.